Hey everybody, good morning. How are you? Happy Thursday. Hope that you're doing well in your part of the world. Just getting ready to spend more time with you guys. Spend another day talking about data science. I think we talked a lot about data science yesterday. For those of you that were around, we had a 7-hour plus stream yesterday. So I am exhausted. I don't know how the rest of you are feeling, but I am pretty tired. Obviously an exciting day yesterday with hitting 100K. But really glad that we're able to spend this time together, right? Every day's above ground's a good day, right? So I'm going to try to get some energy up here and, keep on bringing the energy today, because yesterday was a very tiring day, guys. Very tiring day. After the stream yesterday, I walked my dog because I hadn't walked my dog, so he wanted to go outside, and fed him, sat on the couch for a bit, and then I cooked some chicken, to make some dinner. I was starving. I really hadn't eaten all day. And yeah, just kind of hung out and then went to sleep. I was so tired yesterday, guys. Those streams take a lot out of me, guys. So as always, welcome. If you're joining us, we like to do what's known as our global roll call, where we ask you to let us know your city, state, country, province. Just a good way to introduce yourself, keep the chat professional and whatnot. At the same time, while you're filling up my chat, I go ahead and I give an opening note sometimes where I just share a different thought with you. And then after that, I'm happy to take your questions. If you guys need advice, life, philosophy, news, whatever you guys want to talk about, I'm here to help you guys. So, just please let me know, okay? So the Neverworld, nice to see you over on Twitch. Please let us know your city, state, province, country. Jayarme? No, Jayarame? Jayarame? I see you on YouTube. Let us know your city, state, province, country as an introduction. And then I'm happy to take your questions after that, okay? But, today I did want to share an opening note with all of you. Because even in this craziness of reaching 100K and all the other stuff that's gone on this week, it's been a very busy week. Was it yesterday? Yeah, yesterday or the day before, I was actually inspired by an idea for content. And I just, you never know when inspiration will strike, right? And I thought about this great series that I want to do for all of you. And I remember that I was thinking, oh yeah, and then I also have this other content thing I'm going to do in January, and I'm going to, there's some holidays towards the end of the year, and there's holidays here in the U.S. next week, and then there's holidays in December, and yes, maybe I'll just do that series at the end of the year. Or excuse me, I'll do that series, next year after January after. But then I stopped myself and I said, well, wait a minute, you still have December. December's still a long month. It still has 31 days. Why are you putting off something else to the next year when you could be doing it in December? December is still here. December is still a valid month. I think that it's natural for us to want to throw out December because, oh, it's the end of the year. I'll wait for New Year's. Don't wait. Get going. If inspiration strikes you and, there's still plenty of time to plan for December because, we still have a few days left in this month. If there's still time to plan for the next month, don't wait. Keep going. Keep going all the way till the end of the year. So whether you're in studies or you're at work or whatever the case may be with you, keep going. I had this great idea for a series. And it would be super easy for me to say, oh, I'll do it after January. I'm going to be busy in January. I already have content ideas for January that I'm going to do. But why wait? December is still a valid month. No, don't throw off the end of the year just because it's just December. There's still plenty that can be done. So I've actually been up this morning. I've been up since 2 a.m. to be frankly honest with you, because I fell asleep early last night, tired after the stream. But I've been up since 2 a.m. and been working. I've been putting the pieces together I need for this other series idea that I'm going to do. But we got to do it. We got to keep going in December, right? We got to keep going. So I'm going to encourage all of you to keep going. Don't blow off December. There's still plenty of things you can do before the end of the year. 2025 is close, right? There's no doubt that we're getting close to the end of the year. But keep working through December. Keep at it, okay? So that's really kind of the message I wanted to get across to you guys today. All right, you guys are already filling up my chat. Thank you so much. The Neverworld, please let us know your city, state, province, country. Happy to help you after that. Umair on Instagram, nice to see you. I think it's your first time. Let us know your city, state, province, country, please. And yeah, Jajarame, let us know a little bit about you, okay? All right, so Lakshmi, my good friend Lakshmi is here. 100K, wow, congrats. Yeah, thank you so much, Lakshmi. And thank you to everybody who attended yesterday. I know you were there. You were there yesterday, also, Lakshmi. Still very surreal. You know, it's kind of hard to wrap your mind around that, right? I mean, kind of a weird feeling. So, you know, still a little bit just fascinated by it all. But again, it's because of all of you guys. So thank you so much for that. Really appreciate all of you. Joseph, my good friend Joseph says, good morning, Dennis, and everyone. Congrats again, Dennis. Good morning to you too, Joseph. Appreciate you being here. Yeah, thank you so much for the congratulations. It's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah, so if you guys are interested, because I know a lot of people want to do their own social media or you know, are fascinated by the 100K and all that. It's not all fun and games. It's not all fun and games. So I posted a blooper video, like a little behind the scenes blooper video. I posted it this morning. It seems like it's getting some attention, so it looks like people are liking it. So if you want to check out the blooper video, please do that. You know, all of this content stuff, you know, it seems easy, but like, you know, you got to plan things out. You got to try different microphones. You got to try different lights. I have lights here and, you know, that I had to buy and all that. So it's not easy. So if you guys want to see a little bit of behind the scenes, I posted it. I also did a lot of practice. So I have a lot of, you know, I have a lot of video where I sat here and practiced and I would forget things and noise outside and all that. So if you guys you know, want to see the road to 100K, you know, you're welcome to see that video. Rex, my good friend Rex says, congratulations on reaching 100K. Yeah, thank you so much, Rex. Really appreciate your support. Thank you for being there yesterday. I know it was a long day for everyone, so thank you, Rex. Yeah, so yesterday's stream went from almost 7.5 hours, like 7:15 or something like that. But, you know, you got to keep moving, right? So I was up again this morning at 2 a.m. trying to get the content going. So we just got to keep moving forward. But thank you so much, Rex. Joseph says, no pizza, maybe this week. Yeah, so if you guys don't know, I do keep a keto diet. And yesterday the chat was trying to egg me on to have a pizza for celebration. I certainly wanted it too. It seems like a few of us like the 7-Eleven pizza. By the way, guys, that was one of the secrets from yesterday's chat that we discovered. 7-Eleven pizza is actually not that bad. If you guys want some decent pizza, I'm not going to call it good. So Joseph, I was very tempted to get some pizza yesterday. I will say that, but I wanted to be good. So I had my chicken breast. But I will admit that later today, I do have a friend in town and they are staying near a restaurant called Pizza Rock. And Pizza Rock is known as being one of the best pizza restaurants here in Las Vegas. So I probably will be having pizza tonight because we're supposed to meet later this afternoon for like a late lunch, early dinner. And yeah, we're gonna have some pizza tonight. So you know what? There was this whole Joseph, you might find this interesting. There was this quote from Tom Brady, because Tom Brady, you know, the American football player, he's known for also having a very strict diet. You know, watches a lot of what he eats, and he says, you know, he says, you know, he has his cheat days or his cheat meals, but when he does that, go for the best possible, right? If you're going to have a cheat meal on pasta, get the best pasta possible. Get the best pizza possible. So I'm doing that today, Joseph. I'm going to go ahead and say, okay, I'm going to go to the best pizza restaurant. I'm going to sacrifice the calories. I'm going to blow my diet for one meal, but at least it's going to be good, right? So I am doing that, Joseph. 1010 Analytics, and thank you for introducing yourself. Nice having you here, Sandeep from India. Wonderful. Thank you so much. Appreciate the introduction. Sandeep, let us know if there's something we can help you with. Certainly happy to take questions after anybody wants to, after we do the introductions and all that. But thanks for being here, Sandeep. Osama, our good friend from Morocco, says, hello, sir. Hope you're doing well. Congrats on reaching 100K subscribers. Next objective is to reach 1 million. I don't know if I could do 1 million. Jeez. I mean, 1 million would certainly make me the biggest data science channel. It's funny that they don't have other awards. Like, you think there would be an award at 500K, right? But it goes from 100K to 1 million in as far as the plaques go. So I think that's I think that's a little weird, but yeah, achieving 1 million subscribers, I don't know, that's tough. But who knows what the future will bring, right? I would have never thought I'd have 100K if you had asked me that a few months ago. So maybe, Osama. But Osama, I appreciate you. Thank you for being there yesterday. I know it got a little late for a lot of people in a lot of different time zones, but glad you're here. So Umair over on Instagram, let us know a little bit about you, okay? Lakshmi says, I saw the stream afterwards. Your reactions are something to watch. Reminded me of all those beauty pageant winners and that behind the scenes video. A beauty pageant winner. You know what? I'm just happy we had some great conversation. What I wanted to do later is on Discord, I'm gonna write down all the different things we talked about. We talked about Elon Musk. We talked about aliens. We talked about pizza. We talked about relationships. We talked about a million things yesterday, right? So beauty pageant winners, I guess I'll take that. That's not too bad. I'm just glad I didn't cry, and I was speechless. I was very speechless. So we'll see. RC Sim says, congrats on 100K. Thank you so much, RC Sim. RC Sim, you become such a great supporter in such a short time. Really appreciate you coming back. Really appreciate you being here. I know you were there for, I think, just about the entire stream yesterday. So really appreciate you. Staying with RC Sim says, I like hot dogs from 7-Eleven too. You know what? I agree with you. What is it? The Big Bite? I think it's what they call it. Yeah, they're pretty good. Not gonna lie. You don't get to be fat without having a couple of 7-Eleven hot dogs along the way, guys. Spoiler alert. But yeah, 7-Eleven does make good hot dogs. You know what I also got into for a while? 7-Eleven also makes these, like the pre-wrap sandwiches, and they make an Italian sub version, and it's kind of small. It's not like it's not one of the big Italian subs. It's like a smaller one, but that's actually not half bad. Like the wrap sandwiches from 7-Eleven are really not that terrible. Oh yeah, and we were also talking about T-Pain, right? We talked about T-Pain of all people, right? So maybe I need that 7-Eleven sponsorship because for those of you that weren't there, we were talking about T-Pain. I had seen this podcast where he said that he gets paid $250,000 when he's gaming. He has a huge account on Twitch, huge following. When he's gaming, as long as every 45 minutes he says, "Hey, Pizza Hut has great pizza. Let's have some Pizza Hut pizza today." As long as he says that, he gets paid $250,000 to do that. So maybe this guy needs a 7-Eleven sponsorship. Leo says, I like the corn dogs from 7-Eleven. I don't think I've had those. I've had the corn dogs from Wiener Schnitzel, but I don't know if Wiener Schnitzel is a national chain. I think it's mostly West Coast. But to your point, Leo, a good corn dog is not a bad idea. There's a time and place for a good corn dog. I hear you on that. So Sarvesh says, hi Dennis, congrats for reaching 100K. Thank you so much, Sarvesh. Sarvesh, it's because of good people like you. Thanks for your support. Really appreciate you being here. Manoj, speaking of a great supporter, Manoj, good morning, Sir Dennis and everyone. Congratulations on reaching 100K. Thank you so much, Manoj. Appreciate you, my friend. Hope you're well out there in Bangalore. Ethereal Mind. Let us know a little bit about you, okay? I see you over on Instagram. We always ask people, let us know their city, state, country, province, please, okay? Joseph says, love that. Go all in. Enjoy. Yeah, absolutely. They say that, if you're going to burn the calories, make them good calories, tasty calories, right? So yeah, Pizza Rock, if you guys want to look it up, it's in Las Vegas. And I can't remember the chef's name, but he's won like international competitions for pizza. Like this is what he's known for, right? So there's another place, what's it called? Giordano's, I believe. There's one other place in Las Vegas that they say, it's kind of like the competitor for the top crown, right? But Pizza Rock, they say it's good pizza. I've never been, but if I'm gonna blow the calories, I'm gonna make them good ones. So maybe I'll post some stuff to Instagram later. We'll see. Leo, good morning, Leo. Hey everyone, long time no see. I know, Leo. How do you guys do it? I was exhausted yesterday. I was dead to the world. I barely managed to cook my chicken breast, because I cook all my meals fresh. I don't like I don't like refrigerated stuff. But I ate and then I was exhausted. I was so tired, guys. So I don't know how you guys do it. Like, how are you guys still here? Leo says, beauty pageant winner, so true. Me, what? That's funny. I guess I could see that. You know what? There's worse things in the world that you guys could call me than a beauty pageant winner. So I'll take it. Denelson, our good friend Denelson from LA. Denelson, you came at just the right time yesterday, just as the numbers came up. So thanks so much for being here, Denelson. Hope you're doing well. Lalman from Nepal, I believe. Congrats for 100K, Dennis. Got to sleep watching you yesterday. Okay, I'll take that. Thank you so much. Yeah, it got really late for some people in some time zones. So for those of you that did watch, even if you only watched for a few minutes, I really appreciate you. I can't tell you how fortunate I feel to have such a global community. Like, I would be disappointed if my community was only from the US or only from North America, right? I like to have a global mindset. So I appreciate that some of you was really late, or was the middle of the night, or, maybe it started off early, but it got late, because, 7 hours is a long time. But, I appreciate that, all of you guys, okay? Rex says, I'll have DiGiorno's to celebrate along. Nice. DiGiorno's is not bad. Well, yeah, I think DiGiorno's is the one I would usually like for the frozen pizza, because, they do have a good crust, right? It's hard to beat the DiGiorno's crust. But yeah, I hope you have a good one, Rex. Let me know what kind. The DiGiorno Supreme is usually a pretty good one, so I hope that's what you're having, Rex. All right, guys, so Osama is done with the talking. Osama wants to get right into everything, right? So Osama asks, sir, I am curious as to why data science professionals prefer using terminals instead of notebooks for their projects. Sure. Great question, Osama. And you know what, Osama? We're going to cover this more and more as we progress in the Sunday series. I know that you're a fan of the Sunday series. So for those of you that don't know, we're having, every Sunday I do a longer tutorial. We're in the middle of creating a data science project from the ground up. And that includes deployment, right? We're going to deploy this code that we've been writing, right? Okay, so Osama, here's the thing. The overarching rule is there's two overarching things I want to leave you with to answer your question. One, there's the rule. It's a saying that says you can't deploy a notebook. Okay? And it's true, right? They're really, a notebook is not code. It's a representation of code, right? It's a series of instructions for code. And the second part that I want to leave you with is that when I do my content, when I speak to you guys, I make the general assumption that most of us are going to end up working in a large corporate environment. By and large, that's who hires data scientists, right? Your smaller, like mom and pop businesses, they don't need a data scientist, right? They'll use data science tools, but they don't need a data scientist. So most of you here, right, if you're pursuing a career, you're pursuing data science in a professional way, you're going to end up working for some large corporate environment. Okay. So what do large corporate environments use? Well, most of them, run their own data centers because most of them are concerned about data privacy, right? So, and you're a data scientist, right? So how do you deploy code in a large server center? And by the way, when I say server center data centers, you're usually talking about multi-servers, right? You're usually talking about servers that have a primary and then some sort of a backup, like a warm standby or a cold standby type of cluster environment, right? Maybe you're talking about a load balanced environment where you might have multiple servers and then you have a load balancer sitting on top of it, that disperses the activity. The data centers themselves are usually dispersed. They're dispersed for geographic dispersion, for following the time zones around the world, or to serve clients in particular regions because of data privacy laws. So said another way, you're deploying into a very complex environment. You're going to be deploying into things where you're not copying to the server, you're copying to the server monitoring software that then distributes it out to the different servers, right? Like you're not like FTPing your files or moving the files yourself to the server. There's usually some like management system, at the IT level that will take over and say, okay, here, let us do this, and and we send the file out to all the systems I just described, right? They might send it out at different times of the day because, again, of the maintenance windows that are available in certain regions according to time and so on and so forth. That is impossible to do with a notebook, right? You're going to be expected to hand over a package of Python files that are ready to go. And then those Python files will be deployed to the servers. And also, one thing I forgot to mention, it varies. There are plenty of Windows users out there, but by and large, there's still a lot of Linux servers out there. So especially in some of like the really large environments that I just described, right? You have 12 data centers around the world. Each data center has, 1,000 servers, blah, blah, blah. Those are still overwhelmingly Linux data centers. Right? So as an example, for most of those large clients that I've worked with, you turn over two things, right? You turn over your Python file and then you turn over your Conda environment file, because they will use the environment file to reproduce the environment, and then they will use your Python as the actual program, not script. Well, sometimes it's a script. The script or program that will run, based upon the commands or however you've designed it, right? So that's essentially why notebooks fail in that scenario, right? Like the IT people would laugh at you if they said, if you said, can I just run this notebook? It doesn't work that way, right? And then also another thing you should realize too, Osama, is this kind of a third thing. The more you work in Python, the more it approaches an object-oriented approach, object-oriented programming approach, right? You kind of end up converging on that with your skills, right? And I know there's people out there that say, you don't need that for Python, that's overkill for Python, blah, blah, blah. The reality is that the more your skills advance, the more you write, the more advanced models you do, right? It all converges on you doing more of an object-oriented approach. You're going to find yourself writing more methods. You're going to find yourself putting those methods in more classes. You're going to develop your ability to write those classes. You're going to develop your ability to work with the data structures within those classes, right? All of that becomes super complex really quickly, right? Especially if you have like multiple classes, custom classes that you wrote that are then consumed by other classes you wrote, right? Like it's like, if you're advancing properly and you're really becoming a good data scientist and you're really developing your Python skills, you will come across that, right? You're going to have your own classes. You're going to consume them in other files and, other structures and, different things like that. You can't do that in a notebook, right? Notebooks were not designed for that. Like it's just not reasonable to keep it in there, right? So I think that you should naturally find yourself, even if you don't want to, you should naturally find yourself navigating away from notebooks because you're going to outgrow them, essentially, right? You're going to outgrow the capabilities of a notebook, the way you're going to be structuring your code. So, Osama, kind of, that's kind of like my long answer to your question. It's a good question, right? But that's really what it comes down to. The IT environment you will work in will demand that, and your own growth of your own skills will eventually start showing you like, oh yeah, I really can't do that in this notebook, can I? Yeah, okay, yeah, I see why, because right? You're gonna outgrow it in that way. Okay? So let me know if that helped you. Okay? But that's my answer to you, Osama. Rahul on Instagram, let us know about you. We always ask people to introduce their city, state, country, province, okay? Lulman says, does data structure and algorithms become necessary at that stage? No, not usually. Not usually. You know what, Lulman? Not usually. And I'm gonna try to. I'm trying to think about my answer here, because it's been a while since I've had to do a lot of really, dedicated data structures. So how do I want to put this? So for me, Python, the list and dictionary objects in Python make it very easy to work with data structures. Much more easier than it is in other languages. Like if I think about my C# days, in C# you have to create your dedicated data structures to ship data or information back and forth across classes, right? The convenience of the dictionaries and lists in Python kind of doesn't make that necessary anymore, right? I mean, it's very convenient for those types of things. Now, you're going to be doing a lot more complex dictionaries and lists, right? Like you're going to get into situations where maybe you need like nested dictionaries or things like that. But that's okay because Python is able to access those objects very, very quickly, right? That's kind of one of the advantages of Python, right? When we come back to just the way that Python handles data, it's inherently faster, inherently better, right? So you won't need it. You won't need it, Lawman, but you will be using lists and dictionaries a lot more. Yeah, I think that's a fair way to put it. And also the way you instantiate your classes in Python will also become a little bit more complex because you'll find yourself using more of the variables that are available within a class, right? Because when you instantiate a class in Python, you can name all the variables you want, right? The local class variables as you want, right? So I think you'll find yourself using those more. But as far as like dedicated, highly complex data structures, probably not. Probably not. Yeah. Also, think of it this way, Lawman. And, the rest of you might want to make this observation too, right? Can you think of any libraries, like Python libraries or data science libraries or whatever, that require you to have some sort of complex input into them? No, right? I mean, most APIs that you can think of right now that come to mind, they ask you for a list input, right? Or a dictionary input or something like that, right? Like they don't have that level of complexity. But if you're working like in C# or something, then it might be a lot more complex, right? Like it'll ask you to instantiate a data a data object that then feeds into their own custom data object. You know what I mean? But like, you can get pretty dang far with lists and dictionaries. The more you know how to work with them, obviously, for that type of work element. So I hope that answers your question. Rex says, I'm guessing you also advocate for virtual environments. Sure. Yeah, Rex. I mean, you've seen in my Sunday classes, I use Conda quite a bit, right? Conda is my preferred package for virtual environments. I have yet to come across a scenario where that hasn't helped me, because most companies or clients that I've had use Conda. The way it handles the environments, the way you can document environments, move environments, makes it really easy to work with. So yeah, absolutely, Rex. And some people would just tell you that virtual environments are good practice no matter what, right? You could just be like a Python developer, and you should still be using environments, right? Like, it's not unique to data science. But yeah, Rex, absolutely. Whenever I do a project, I always, even if it's just like my own small exploration, I always like to, do my own environment from the beginning, and do my own installs and things like that. But yeah, and maybe I'll take a poll on that sometime to see if there's a demand for doing like an environment class or a basic Conda class, because it's not always the easiest thing to get started with, but pretty critical to know. But thanks, Rex. That's a good question. It is surprising that virtual environments don't come up more often as a question or in the chat or whatnot. Osama says, thank you for your response. Yeah, I hope that helped, Osama. If you guys are just starting out, I get it. Notebooks are convenient, right? Probably what your academic classes use. A lot of the tutorials online show notebooks. I get it. But as I said, my goal here is to show you guys how it's done in the real world, show you the professional approach to data science, and you're gonna be asked for the programs and scripts, not notebooks, Lawman says, thanks for that. It makes it so much easier. Yeah, I think so too. To me, the convenience of lists and dictionaries is unparalleled within Python, right? Like, I haven't had another language that makes it that easy to work with them, right? Like, that's really a strength that feeds into other things, including your DSA question there. Okay, so Sarvesh is saying, can you explain the difference between programs and scripts? Yeah, sure, Sarvesh. So the difference, I'm trying to find like the most basic way to highlight the differences. So when you hear somebody when you hear somebody talk about Python, and maybe Python scripts in particular, you might hear them refer to it as a sequential language. Because that is a term. There's a few sequential languages out there, and Python, people will tell you, is a sequential language. And what that means is that Python takes your code and just reads it from the top and goes down, and executes as it runs down, right? So that's kind of like where like the script part of it comes, right? Because you can just write your code in a sequence, and because it's a sequential language, it will just execute it, and something happens in your computer, right? You successfully wrote some code, something happened. But there's another way to go about it, and that's what's known as using an entry point. And in most cases, you're going to have a main method that uses an entry point. Or excuse me, you're going to use a main method as your entry point, right? So Python does have that ability. When you hit enter after the Python script name, it has the ability to look for instructions to find the entry point. So in a script, you're going to always have a reference to the bottom. And you know what, guys? Let me bring this up. I have some code up here. So why don't I do that? I'm talking with my hands when I should be showing you code. Give me just a second here. But I'm going to show you guys code from Sunday. This from Sunday's class. So some of you might recognize this. So this is what I'm referring to here, Sarbash. So at the very bottom of this Python file, right? The Python file is the same, right? There's no difference between a script or a program file. But here we are letting Python say, hey, when you're looking for an entry point, this is where I want you to go. I want you to go to my main method. And now this main method is up here, and this is the first thing that's going to hit. So now it's not a sequential language anymore, or we're not treating it in a sequential language anymore. Now we're guiding Python to say, here's where I want you to go when you open this, right? So now we're saying this is a method. I'm calling it main, and whenever the program comes in and looking for that main entry point, go ahead and go to that method. And from here, we can go ahead and we can start, kind of guiding the program, right? Here's the method I want you to use. Here's the class I want you to instantiate. Here's the data. Here's the order I want you to run things in, so on and so forth. It lets you be a little bit more in control. And also what you're really doing is you're adding a little bit more organization to your code. And the organization is important because the more complex the work you want to do, the more methods you're going to have, the more dedicated classes you're going to have, so on and so forth. So as you can see here, in this particular program, we have a main method and then we're instantiating our own class. That class was declared way up here, right? At the very top of our code, right? We have our stock price forecaster class. We have a bunch of different things that are dedicated towards that class and so on. We could have multiple classes if we needed to, right? You typically want to avoid having multiple classes in the same file, but it's not the worst thing in the world. But now you can have this class. The time and place where we instantiate it is our decision, because we have it here, and then we can put it into the forecaster object, and then the forecaster does what we need it to do from within that class, right? This is illustrates kind of like the program side of it, right? This is obviously not a script, right? Because you're kind of organizing code in a very unique way. You're taking much more of an object-oriented approach than a script is, right? Because scripts typically aren't object-oriented. You can kind of sort of fake it, but not really, right? Because you can have classes in a script, but it's kind of messy, kind of disorganized, hard to read, right? But the more you use different classes, different libraries, more complex APIs, right, that maybe you didn't write, that's like a third-party API, the more convenient you're going to find it to be able to have these main methods that then you are basically kind of playing traffic cop and deciding what goes where at what time, so on and so forth, right? Especially when you get into like the larger, more complex multi-threading operations or multi-processor operations, right? You're going to want to have that granular control that is really, really, really hard to get in a script, right? Because as you can see here, like I said, you're directing the traffic. You're saying here and go here and then wait here for a bit. You can't do that in a sequential script that you're just running up and down, right? Coming back to the previous question, to Osama's question, notebooks are also sequential, right? You know how you have to press, what is it? What's the hotkey? I think it's F5 or something like that. To keep moving forward. in your notebook, that's sequential programming at work, right? You can't always say, oh, here, oh, let me go back up here, right? You're not directing the traffic, you're just going line by line, right? So again, this is one of those things where, yeah, maybe you don't need this on your first day of learning data science, but as you grow, as you develop, as the complexity increases, your responsibilities increase, your knowledge increases, you're going to find the benefits of organizing your code in this way and kind of having that more granular like control over the way your code, your process runs, right? So that's the best way I can explain it, Sarvesh. I hope that helps, but I would definitely encourage all of you to get away from notebooks as soon as you can and start writing programs, not scripts, as soon as you can. Because, you know, they don't have to have their own class, but it is helpful to have the main methods and the entry points and be able to kind of like run the code on your terms, you know? So that's my view on that, Sarvesh. I hope that helped. But yeah, for those of you that are attending the Sunday classes, you obviously recognize this as the code we were looking at for our the forecasting, right? I can't wait for this Sunday, because this Sunday we're going to basically do the same thing, but for the other algorithm, right? From, I think Manoj is the one who originated that, the efficient frontier one, right? So that's going to be fun too. So we'll see where we end up after that one. I think it's going to be a good session on Sunday. So I hope that helped there, guys. Good questions today. I love that. I love that the level of questions is going up, right? Because, you know, I hope that this is kind of sparking different ideas for all of you on what to study, what to read, other things to consider, so on and so forth. So really glad that you guys are asking these questions. Sarvesh says, thank you, sir, for an in-depth explanation. Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome, my friend. You know, if you guys, I'm always here for you guys, right? So if you guys want to ask questions, I'm always here. I try to give you the best answer I can. If I don't know the answer, I'll tell you that. But you know, after leading a lot of projects, a lot of teams, you know, I can definitely tell you that notebooks is not where it's at, and you're going to find yourself definitely wanting to use programs a lot more than scripts, you know, because it's just the way it's just the way professional data science is done. So I'm empathetic that, you know, you don't see it online, right? You always find little code snippets that are scripts, right? But you know, it's how it's done. Yeah, if you guys ever want to see something, right? Like I have yet to have somebody show me how you can do multi-threading inside a notebook. Like if you guys can do that, like I don't think it's possible, right? But if you guys want like a thought exercise, like hey, I want to find out if I really should get away from notebooks, go try to do multi-threading in a notebook. Very, very difficult to do. Leo says, I think notebooks are only useful in testing or research environment. Sure. Yeah, absolutely, Leo. I'd agree with that. You know, people still kind of use it for themselves as like a scratch pad, you know, to try to help understand like little basic things. So to that, yeah, okay. Go ahead and do that for like your own little personal, like really quick reference type of stuff, you know? But yeah. Yeah. You know, the challenge there though, Leo, is that if you are in a true like research only environment, like you know, like a think tank or somebody like that, they're also very likely to use R, right? Like those types of research environments are also basically who's keeping R alive, right? That's kind of where R came out of, and you know, still popular in those circles, right? Not poo-pooing R, right? But yeah, I mean, they're going to use notebooks occasionally. Well, but then again, they could be using notebooks with R. So yeah, they could be doing that. They could be using R Studio itself, and then they could be using notebooks with R or notebooks with Python. So yeah. Leo says, for me, it's confusing as hell. Yeah, I could see that, Leo. I could see that. Because, as I told you guys, I have a long history in software development, right? So I'm totally comfortable writing my own programs and classes, and I'm sold on it, right? I know the benefits. So doing notebooks to me almost felt like a downgrade, like it felt like really constricting, where it's like, well, why do I have to go line by line? Like, why do I need to reset the kernels? It doesn't make sense, right? Like it's a little bit of a downgrade after a while. Leo says, except for Rex, he likes running his podcast. Yeah, for those of you guys that don't know, Rex has become a fan of the Notebook LM tool. I think he's becoming our Notebook LM expert. But yeah, well, I think a lot of Google tools run on notebooks, right? I think the Google Colab is a notebook, isn't it? But yeah, just, I get it. It's probably what you learned in school. I get it. But, start distancing yourself as you can, right? Yeah, but as you said, as practitioners, learning how to deploy is better to practice. Yeah. Absolutely, guys. Absolutely, right? Yeah, because, I assume that all of you have aspirations of working in the business, right? Working in a large environment. So getting away from notebooks is a good thing. Yeah, Google Colab is based on Jupyter notebooks. Yeah. And to some reason, to some point, I kind of understand that, because it's very difficult to give the public access to a Linux prompt and not have your servers like totally blow up, right? Very, very few people have done that successfully. But that's also one of the reasons why I'm a fan of DigitalOcean, because they do let you, all of their virtual servers are Linux based. That's how they keep the prices so low. They don't offer Windows, right? They don't have to pay the Windows licensing. But it also makes for good practice if you want to be a data scientist, right? Because it's a Linux prompt and you kind of have to just find your way, right? But yeah, I can understand why Google Colab would have to kind of do notebooks, because it does present a little bit of a safety layer, I guess you could say, for them. But yeah, use them if you must, but I guarantee you that you will find a need at some point in your career for a more dedicated script or Linux-based approach to, I shouldn't say Linux, command line-based approach to deploying your models. All right, guys, last call for questions. If anybody has anything on their mind. Later this week, I might be releasing some more information about the content that I have in mind for December. I'm working on some of the videos now. I really think it's going to be a good series. I have a gut feeling it's going to be a good series. So that's coming in December, and then January I'm going to be bringing you some information from CES. So really looking forward to that. But it's been a big week, guys. It's been a big week. Also, next week I am going to be taking a little bit of a stream break. I'm still going to have content on social media, but I'm taking a little bit of a stream break because I'm going to go spend some time with my parents. It is a Thanksgiving holiday here in the U.S. next week. So I'm going to be spending some time with my parents. It's my dad's birthday on Monday, so I'm going to be out there for that. That's going to be a lot of fun. But otherwise, we're just going to keep going, guys. But good stuff coming up, good content coming up. But I want to thank all of you for your time. Thank you all who came back from yesterday. I mean, Leo, I know you were there for most of the day yesterday, if not all of it. So you guys are real troopers. Really appreciate you guys. And we'll just keep going. So as always, please take care of yourselves, take care of your families, and I'll see you next time.